Are you a business owner or entrepreneur who's had great success in the business world, and now you want to launch a speaking career to share your message with the world? If that's you, then listen up. 25-year speaking industry veteran Brett Ridgway has released his latest special report, 3 key things entrepreneurs must master to build a profitable speaking business. To pick up your copy, go to brettridgway.com/freebie. Welcome to the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway, where you'll learn the keys to building a profitable speaking business from speaking industry pros. Each week, we interview a great guest who will share his or her speaking journey, identify what their keys to success have been, and highlight some critical mistakes they've made along the way that you'll want to avoid. Be sure to visit our website at spotlightonspeaking.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, sit back, tune in, and get ready to meet this week's guest.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Spotlight on Speaking show. I'm your host, Brett Ridgway, and I'm excited to have as my guest today, Gloria Treister. Gloria is a relentlessly passionate wellness expert who distills complex concepts into simple lessons. She's an award-winning and experienced wellness entrepreneur, author, activist, speaker, teacher, and founder of Wellness Evolution in 2003. She makes a healthy choice the easy choice for you and your loved ones so you can live healthy longer. She's a board-certified holistic health practitioner, an EMCC certified executive and business coach, an advanced physical fitness specialist, a certified corporate wellness specialist, and many other things. She's the author of Wellness 101, Simple Steps to Good Health, which has earned amazing reviews, and you certainly want to check that out. But Gloria, welcome to the Spotlight on Speaking show.
Thank you, Brett. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so I'm going to tell you, my wife is a physical therapist assistant for 40 years, so I know a little bit about the physical therapy world, which, you know, was your shtick for quite a while. So what prompted the move from being a reactive physical therapist to a proactive wellness person?
You know, that's a great question, Brett. When I first, I took over a family business in my husband's family in 1980. I, at the time, had bought a franchise of photographic art galleries. So my life was headed in a completely different direction. And as my mother used to say, man makes plans and God laughs. When my mother-in-law passed away, I took over that business to wind it down. It was 1980. And physical therapy had been something in their family for many years. His dad, my husband's father, was a physiatrist, which you probably know what that is, but most people don't. It's a doctor of physical medicine. And he was teaching people how to be physical therapists. I took over the business to wind it down. I guess I just never got around to it. And I started getting really interested in how you can heal yourself, how you can take control of yourself and really be in charge of your own health and well-being. And so I, rather than winding it down, just kept doing more and more and learning more and more and attending all kinds of courses with physical therapists. And the one thing that drove me nuts was, why aren't we using physical therapy preventively? And so your wife will probably love this because, you know, they were sending people in after they were hurt, but why weren't we teaching people how to not get hurt? Or if they got hurt, what could they do to heal themselves? And so wellness became a huge passion for me. And I would go to visit with doctors to try to get them to refer patients. And I'd say, okay, that's one thing. Let's put that aside. What do you think about preventive medicine? What do you think about sending people to physical therapy before a surgery so you can strengthen them? So when they come out of it, the rehab time is slow, you know, hastened. Like, why aren't we teaching people how to take care of themselves? And so I started to bring nutrition people into my practice. I started bringing people in. We were going into work sites and looking at the way people were performing jobs and creating little exercise programs that people could do in the factories before they started their shift to prevent injuries. And so I think my love for prevention and also empowering people to take care of themselves. Because I think what's happened since I got involved in healthcare is we've given up our power. We think the doctor knows best. We know nothing. We have to listen to them. They give us something to take. That's the answer to all of our problems, and we just do it. I'm not that kind of girl. I really like to, I love to learn, and then I love to teach. That's one of my favorite things.
All right, so let's talk about the teaching aspect of it. So you have speaking in your background, obviously. So when I think about speaking, Gloria, I think about three major types of speakers. One is the typical keynote speaker that everybody's familiar with. They go in into a corporation or an association and deliver a talk for a fee. The second is what I call the platform seller. So they deliver content and then they make an offer of some type of coaching or other product on the back end of their talk. And the third is what I would just call the business builder speaker. They speak to share knowledge, and then hopefully people will have a need for whatever their product or service is at some point in time. So which of those arenas have you played in? And if it's been more than one, which arena do you prefer?
Okay. Yeah, I have done keynote speaking and I love it. I'd love to do more of it actually, but I do love small group teaching as well. I do a lot of that. And really, I think I probably should be more salesy. I'm not. I'm much more of an educator. I like to get people excited about health and well-being with a focus towards the future. I think too often we focus on, I'm going to eat this candy bar today rather than how's this going to impact me when I'm older? Am I going to be able to get on the ground and play with my grandkids? What's my life going to be like? And I think changing the paradigm for people about what it truly means to be well, how their bodies work, and what they need to know to take really good care of themselves. So when they do get old, they're not lying in a nursing home having somebody change their diaper. Instead, they're traveling the world and enjoying all the fruits of their labor over all those years, which is what I'm doing now. And I would encourage other people to do that. So one of my sayings now is just be cool to your future self every day when you're making one of many, many, many decisions you make all day. Keep in mind that whatever you decide today may affect you in the future.
So Gloria, when you do a keynote presentation, how
Mhm.
do you measure the success of that type of presentation?
Well, I try to get people involved. I'll give you an example. I did a keynote for the Employers Healthcare and Benefits Congress. And I asked everybody in the audience, what's your why? Why do you want to be well? And I had a booth in the exhibit hall that was a big black um, Velcro board. And I left a circle on everybody's seat, about this big, with a Sharpie, of course, with my logo on it. We can't forget to promote a little bit. And I said to everybody, when I'm done, I want you to write your why on the circle on your chair and come to my booth and put it on the wall. And it was really cool. Then I invited people back and we had the whole wall covered with different whys. Some people one guy wrote 4 names on there. I said, well, what's that all about? He said, those are my 4 kids. Somebody else said to fit into my skinny jeans. Somebody else said, why not? And so it became an engagement, and we had a lot of engagement, and people kept coming back to see what other people had written. And so I like to make it fun. That was one way that I could measure it. Obviously, when you do that kind of talk, they're going to ask people to grade you. So hopefully you get good scores. But so far, I've gotten pretty good results.
So when you're doing a keynote, how much customization do you do before a presentation, or do you use pretty much a standard presentation every time?
Well, I always try to customize it. I try to read the audience, and I do ask in advance, for information about the demographics. I like to know age and gender. But to be honest, I think what I have to say could be relevant to a 5-year-old or a 60-year-old. Maybe a 5-year-old wouldn't get what a hormone is, even if I explained it. But I think if I was talking to a group of little kids, I would reframe it, of course. But for the most part, the talk really is more about explaining to people how things work. Your gut's your second brain. Anybody can figure that out. If you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out of here. And so anybody can understand that. And I do try to explain it in that way. My goal is so that when you leave, you take one thing with you that you're going to do, something that's going to change your life for the better.
So let's hop over to the teaching side of things, since you seem to enjoy the small teaching sessions a little bit more. So, there's a saying that we're all familiar with probably, and that's, the mind can only absorb what the butt can endure. So how do you measure out or set up a training situation like that, a small teaching exercise, so that you can get maximum input or maximum output or whatever you want to call it, results?
Yeah, I actually try to get people to talk to me. Well, I try to freeform, really. I have a PowerPoint. I always do. It helps me stay um, in keeping things in order. But I do engage with people. I will ask them, how many of you know somebody who's had cancer? That engages just about everybody, because nobody that I know of doesn't know at least one person. Do you know what you could do to prevent it? Are you concerned about getting it? And then go from there, because if you can try to make it relevant to what's on their mind, what are they concerned about? What are they worried about? I can ask people, how many ounces of water did you drink today? Because people are generally dehydrated. So I do try to move around. I do let people ask questions while I'm talking. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. If it gets a little bit too off track, then I try to say, okay, we're going to have to slow it down with the questions or we'll run out of time. And I have a lot I want to share with you. Let's save them till the end. And then I give people my phone number, my email, and say, you can reach out to me too.
So are you a believer in handouts or training books or workbooks or something in that particular situation? And if you are, and you do pass out materials like that, how do you keep people from looking ahead and not concentrate on what you're talking about now?
That's a good question. I usually try to hand those out at the end, because people are going to not pay attention to what you're saying. Sometimes I have to send them later. I had an incident recently where I was doing a lecture for, and I volunteer this, actually. There's a restaurateur in town. He just won the James Beard Award. I'm like so proud of him. But he takes previously incarcerated people and puts them through a leadership academy to work in the food industry. He's amazing. He's giving people second chances. He's wonderful. And I was giving a lecture to that group, and I was talking about the importance of eating organic food. And one of the guys in the back of the room raised his hand, and I said, yes. And he goes, hey, lady, I don't even have a grocery store where I live. And I was like, oh my God, I really should have thought this through in advance. And so afterwards, I mentioned it to Brandon, the guy who won the award and started all this, fabulous guy, Brandon Kostowski. And I said, I'm really sorry, I screwed up today. I wasn't really thinking that could happen, that somebody would say, I don't have anywhere to go get that kind of food. And I even asked the guy, could you take the bus? No, he can't do that. So what I did was I went back and created a document about how to eat healthy at the 7-Eleven or the gas station. And I brought it back there and had them hand it out. I think the takeaway for that is I needed to really, really know a little bit more about these folks, because it never occurred to me that somebody didn't have access to a grocery store. Now I know better. But you live and you learn, right, Brett? I mean, I couldn't have anticipated that.
No, name of the game. So I have some other questions I want to ask you, Gloria, but before we do, let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsor.
Are you a business owner or entrepreneur who's had great success in the business world, and now you want to launch a speaking career to share your message with the world? If that's you, then listen up. 25-year speaking industry veteran Brett Ridgway has released his latest special report, 3 key things entrepreneurs must master to build a profitable speaking business. To pick up your copy, go to brettridgway.com/freebie.
And we are back with the Spotlight on Speaking Show and my guest, Gloria Treister. So, Gloria, as you think back to your speaking career, when was the first time that you said, this is really something I need to do to help grow my coaching business or whatever? I need to get out there in front of groups. I mean, are we going back 20 years, 30 years? Was it a natural thing for you? Was it a barrier to overcome?
You know, it's funny. When I was in high school, I competed in extemporaneous speaking, which was really interesting. They would give you a topic, you had 5 minutes to prepare a speech, and then you gave it. And I really enjoyed that for some unknown reason. I don't know. I just really loved it. So I think I've always had a passion for speaking. I don't know that I understood how much I loved teaching until I really got into it. I got a lot of experience doing that, doing corporate wellness. I would travel around. We had a contract with a Fortune 200 company that had plants all over the United States with 60,000 employees. And so I would go to different plants and do lectures. And I felt like it really made a difference in some people's lives. I do one talk called A New Way to Think About Your Brain, and I teach people how your brain works. I mean, most people don't know what a neurotransmitter is, and why would they? Most people don't know that your brain chemicals are made in your gut. As I mentioned earlier, your gut is your second brain. And what you can do without antidepressants, without drugs, without sleeping pills, because those things cover up symptoms. But we have the ability to control a lot of that. Clearly, 80% of the conditions that people suffer from are modifiable through lifestyle. So we really need to help people understand that and take ownership. And so when I did that, A New Way to Think About Your Brain talk, I did it at a company. And afterwards, I couldn't believe it. People were lined up to ask me questions. But the first thing they would say is, you're not going to tell my employer I'm on an antidepressant, are you? And you could tell that somehow I had struck a nerve. And I was so excited about that. I had that particular event, I had people with tears in their eyes saying, I didn't know there was anything I could do. And that's where I really think I got the bug to say, okay, they have other things that they're interested in. It's not their job to do this research for them. It's my job to learn it and to teach it in the simplest possible way I can. They don't need to know the mechanics or the science behind it. They just need to know that there are things they can do. And that's what I like to teach.
All right. So as you think back over your career speaking, this is the Bare Your Soul portion of the program. Share
Okay.
a story, if you would, about some mistake you made along the way. You left maybe embarrassed at the time, little red face, but a valuable lesson was learned, and it would be something you highly advise up and coming speakers not to do.
Well, I did share one earlier, the one about the food.
Yeah, you gotta give me a different one.
A different one. Oh my gosh, I'm really hard pressed to think about. Sorry, I mean, I
Hey, you
don't
said you went to
usually have.
extemporaneous speaking.
I know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a situation that would have happened. I'm a person that likes to be prepared, and because I am good at extemporaneous speaking, I can pivot. So if I know that I'm losing people, I can pivot. And I think going with the flow would be my advice for people. Kind of, if you see people getting fidgety or they're not listening or they're looking at their phones. I mean, I've been known to call people out and just say, hey, you know, put it away. I promise you I'll give you something of value. Just pay attention. And but I don't feel like I've ever really felt, I guess I don't get embarrassed. I am who I am. I try to just go with the flow and pivot when I need to, but I know what I want to share. And so I can change topics if I'm losing people. I think just knowing your subject really, really well and paying close attention to what's happening in the room and the impact that you're having. You know, there's energy everywhere, and you should tune into that in a room and be able to feel where the energy is going while you're talking. So if the energy is slowing down, you need to pick it up somehow, tell a joke, tell a story. I think that's the one thing that I learned when I first started working with that company I mentioned. One of their executives came to my office and said, okay, teach me something. And I mean, he caught me completely off guard. We were having a meeting and I started talking and he looked at me and he goes, I'm bored. Tell me a story. And I was like, oh my God, I wasn't prepared for that. And he's like, okay, that was good. Keep going. And then he'd say, oh, I'm bored again. And so I think if I had to say anything, it was learning that telling stories is really what resonates with people. When I tell stories about health being cumulative, I talk about a guy who bent over and his back went out. But is that what really happened? It isn't. Your back doesn't just go out. It's a wearing out process. And so I started talking about him, but embellished it more. And at the end, people said, oh, yeah, that story about that guy whose back went out. I couldn't believe it. That happened to me. So I think storytelling helps, and really reading what's going on can help you from making huge, embarrassing mistakes.
Yeah, I think storytelling is so critically important and often underlooked, certainly. So, as we know, speaking can be, if somebody's a full-time speaker, that's their career or whatever, and they're out on the road a lot. What advice would you have for somebody who is out on the road a lot from a wellness standpoint?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I like to bring healthy snacks so that you're not tempted to buy some crap at the hotel, whatever they call it, kiosk by the front desk that just has candy bars and a bunch of garbage. Um, yeah, keep an eye on your energy, make sure that you're well hydrated. Um, Try to exercise if you can while you're there, maybe right before. Um, Calm yourself, right? Get a little meditation going there and really kind of feel the energy. One thing that I taught that you might find a little woo-woo, but I'm going to go there anyway, is corporate Reiki. Are you familiar with Reiki?
I'm a little bit familiar with it, yeah.
Okay, so Reiki is it literally means like channeled energy. We all have it. Some people think, oh, it's really, oh, Reiki. But really all it means is your life force energy, and you're channeling it. So one thing that I used to teach in a corporate level was corporate Reiki, because you could send energy. Let's say you have a really important meeting that day and you're trying to get other people to want to be on your side, right? You want them, you're going to have a debate about something. These people, these people like their bread on the butter side up, and this people like it on the butter side down, like Dr. Seuss. And you want to have the best outcome for all the people there. And so before you go into a room, I would highly encourage people to really sit with that for a minute. Picture yourself up there with people listening to you with great intent, people in the audience just mesmerized by what you're saying. And at the end of it, everybody is so enriched that they're walking out of the room going, wow, that was great. If you do that, you would be amazed at how that works. And so I would encourage people who are executives, people who are going to sales meetings, whatever, to take a moment to just sit there and clear your brain, become an empty vessel, get all your energy together. Maybe you'll go like this, some kind of a silly, pose, and just focus on the room where you're going to be speaking, and focus on the energy that you're going to send to that room in advance of it, knowing that at the end of it, the outcome is going to be wonderful for everyone, including you, but all those people who attend.
Great advice. So, Gloria, I want to give you a couple of minutes now to tell people a little bit more about what all is it you do now and how they can get involved in your world if they so choose. And I think you have something that might help them out that you wanted to mention too.
Oh, absolutely. So, if you can't tell already, I love wellness. And I like working with people to help them figure out a path to better health. We all have it. We can all do it. And if you follow the blue zones and all of that, there are ways that people live healthy to 100 and more, there's no reason for people to have declining health in their lives. And I think the biggest barrier is that we make health more complicated than it needs to be, which is why I wrote my book, Wellness 101, Simple Steps to Good Health. May I show it? Oh, it's right here. Here's my book. It is, I'll tell you, one of the things I did in this book was I filled it with beautiful pictures and charts that make it very, very easy. Lots of white space because nobody has an attention span anymore. And each topic is 1 page, 2 pages at most. That gives you just the basics. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to know everything that I know about health and wellness, but you do need to know certain basics. Once you know those, you can tackle anything. So that's one thing that I would say that I love to do. I'm currently engaged in doing corporate wellness programs. We're working with people from a functional medicine approach. The difference between that and what most people encounter, which is called allopathic medicine, where they treat you with drugs and surgery, a functional medicine doctor will look for the root cause of a problem. So rather than suppressing symptoms like, doc, I can't sleep, and they give you a sleeping pill, a functional medicine doctor would say, that's interesting. Why can't you sleep? Let's get to the bottom of the problem. And that's what I like to do with people. So in our corporate wellness program, rather than just throwing a bunch of information at people, we're going to teach them a bottom-up approach to all kinds of health problems. And we make it about them. I don't want to teach people stuff they don't want to learn. I want to teach people what's on their mind. So the very first step that we take is that we look at what are your biggest health issues? What concerns you most? What do you want to learn and how do you like to learn? Do you want to watch videos? Do you want to read? What do you want to do? And so I think that's the difference in what I do from a wellness approach compared to what a lot of other people do. I want you to know what you need to know to be in charge of your own health. You got to be the CEO of your own health. So my freebie, if you want to call it, or whatever, that will include with this wonderful opportunity today is a 30-day health recharge. I have one little tiny thing for you to do every day for 30 days. It's going to be simple. I promise you, simple is my plan. And at the end of 30 days, I bet you'll be happier.
All right, well, great. Well, we'll make sure the URL on where you can pick up that is in the show notes down below. So thank you, Gloria, so much for being with me today. I have something I need to show off too. So I have another book out, co-written by my good friend Frank Deerdorf. And let's get it in the right spot there. Let's see, got to pull it back here a little bit.
There you go.
There we go. Answers to the 50 biggest online business mistakes. So that is book number 9 for me. I'll have to get to 10, I guess. So.
Oh, that's exciting. That's awesome. And by the way, I didn't mention my company is called Wellness Evolution, if you want to look it up online.
Evolution, not revolution. So evolution.
Thank you for clarifying that. Yes.
All right. Well, again, thanks so much, Gloria. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. As always, I wish you the greatest of success in all that you do. And may this year be your greatest year yet. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone.
This has been the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway. Be sure to join us every week as we interview speaking industry pros and have them share their best tips for building a profitable speaking business. Until next week, thank you for tuning in, and remember to visit our website at spotlightonspeaking.com so you can enjoy even more great episodes like this one. While you're here, be sure to subscribe via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Spotlight on Speaking show. Until then, our sincere best wishes to you for the greatest of success as you work to build your own profitable speaking business.